Peloton is gifting you their best offer of the season. Get up to $600 off Peloton Bike, Bike Plus, or Tread packages. Choose the package that is right for you with accessories ranging from cycling shoes to non-slip grip dumbbells and more. Whether you have 10 minutes to spare for a strength class or 30 minutes for a running or cycling class, there's a workout that works for you with music that is truly iconic. So don't miss out on Peloton's best offer of the season. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more. All access membership separate. Offer ends December 6, 2022. Excludes Bike, Bike Plus, and Tread Basic. See additional terms at onepeloton.com.
From the creators of Relevant Magazine, this is the Relevant Podcast.
Station wagon, tires flying, Katie's counting crows through the tears in her blue eyes. State lines and capitals go rushing by as I'm trying to find a station on the radio. Everything's gonna be better on the West Coast.
It's Friday, September 28, 2018, and it's the Relevant Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and here with me in our newly updated Orlando studio, our illustrious engineer on the ones and twos, my brother, Chandler Strang.
Hello.
Over there, also hovering, is our producer, Mark Jackson.
Hello, world.
On the Skype line from Loverland, Virginia, Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
And joining us from Nashville, Tennessee, Tyler Huckabee.
Hey, everyone.
And down the road from Tyler, right there in Nashville, author, speaker, podcaster, Annie F. Downs.
Good morning, gents. I'm so happy to see you.
Hey, this is gonna be a fun show. I'm not gonna tell you who's coming up later. I'll tell you that in a minute. But I don't know. You guys can see on the Skype. This is an audio medium, but you guys can see on the cameras. The studio is evolving, and it's we are in motion with our plans to take this podcast to video, and it's very exciting because it's starting to happen. We got all the lighting in place. We're doing the camera installation, and over the next couple of weeks, you listeners will start to see highlights and excerpts of the show on YouTube and on our site, and 3-minute, 5-minute chunks that are usable, and we're going to start spreading those out. But the big announcement is that we will also be working toward taking this show to live later this fall. Late October is what we're targeting. And doing a live broadcast, a live video broadcast when we record it. There will be new elements to the show where you can interact with us. The listener of the week changes, question of the week changes. We're going to have a lot of fun with the live format. And you can watch the full show. We'll also be doing the video highlights. And then obviously the audio show will remain as is. But Tuesdays and Fridays, you can be looking for us live. Just act like you're working. You know, you're looking at your computer monitor. I mean, your boss doesn't know. You're just hanging out with your friends.
I'm here with y'all every week.
Every listener will have to sign an NDA before they can actually download the episode.
I mean, I feel like 3 to 5 minute clips with us not having to be edited feels like a real achievement. So can we start there?
Yeah, we are. That's a crawl, walk, run. But what are we working towards? And towards is no editing at all. Let's just remove the safety net. Let's be professionals here.
Straight to tape. I have no problem with it. And I'm excited for people to hear my unfiltered takes that the man doesn't make safe for the little ears, if you know what I'm saying.
I'm excited. My lawyers are very nervous about it. We're having a lot of meetings. I keep telling them it's fine. It's fine. I've got this.
It'll be fine.
I don't know if this will be in place when we go live immediately, but Tyler and I are talking about finding a place for a Nashville studio that you guys can record and broadcast together from, possibly. And we don't want to give you a long commute. We're trying to keep
it a special idea.
Yeah, and
I love that.
Yeah. So we'll have an Orlando studio and a Nashville studio, and then Jesse in his bedroom. So
the Tyler and Annie Relevant Country Music Hour. We'll bring in some songwriters from around town to tell a little story.
I just love learning everything about this podcast and my plans and where I'm supposed to be live on the podcast.
I guess that happened at the 600th.
That's how we roll. And it looks like this is a very convenient time for us to inform you of these things, Annie. It's not like you clearly have just moved. You're sitting in boxes. But next week, I guess we'll wait to kind of talk more about it next week. But you have a big week next week on Tuesday.
Yes. The new book comes out next week. So it's exciting. Yeah.
Annie, I am I don't know if it's you or your publisher, but 5 copies were sent to our office last week. And I have one in my bag for the trip I'm going on as soon as we're done recording. I'm going to start to read it on the plane. I'm very excited.
Good.
Yeah, maybe after you reading, and I texted Annie this weekend and said I'm expecting one too. So Cameron, you and I will have to read it before Tuesday so we can talk to her about it on the actual release date. And Annie, your job is to finish Cameron's dad's book, and we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah, we'll just trade. We'll trade. One has significantly more Kirk Cameron than the other, so I'll let you guys figure that out.
He is on the cover of your new book.
That's what I'm trying to say. That was the spoiler. It's going to be me. The answer is my book has more Kirk. Remember, God has more Kirk Cameron than Steve Strang's book.
I'm excited to read your book. I'm excited for your launch next week. We'll talk a lot about that on that episode. We're launching some things here too this fall. Nothing as significant as Annie's new book, but next week we'll be launching the new season of the Love and Money podcast, and then this fall, I think the month after that, I'm launching a podcast. We're calling it Unedited with Cameron Strang, and it's going to be the long form conversations that we've been taping over the last year with a lot of world changers and amazing, interesting people, and we've been sitting down for hour-long conversations, and we just recorded them, and we thought, man, people need to hear this stuff, and not like in 6-minute chunks on the podcast. They need to hear when he cried, that kind of a thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to do a new podcast, Unedited.
When you cried? We're going to hear you cry on every episode?
I get choked up every time. Oh, absolutely. I ask these guys
most weeks here too.
I ask these guys all these vulnerable questions, and about their past and about their current being struggles, and they open up. It's crazy. We're recording, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But,
I know. That happens on my show too, Cameron, where I'll be like, other people are going to hear this, and I've only had one person call me back afterwards and say, hey, I realized that I probably wish I wouldn't have said some of that. So can we edit a little bit of that out? But it's one of the beautiful...
And you say, no way, Jose. That's not how this works.
I'm going to pull that clip and make it live. We're going to video it for 3 to 5 minutes.
This is the content people crave.
That's right. But that's what happens when people sit down for an hour, Cameron, is that you genuinely become friends with them, and they trust you. And they already trust you because they've already known you. But I think it's really special.
And they say, hey, this isn't recording. We're just talking off the record for a minute. Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
The whole room's bugged.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the Pete Holmes thing where it's like you're not gonna get the thing where okay, now and record and here's your intro. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just you're gonna hear the whole experience. You're gonna hear us saying, hey, what's up, and catching up. And then it's just going to be like if we're going to dinner and hanging out and we just happen to record it. That's kind of what the heart of the show is. We were talking yesterday, interestingly, with the name Unedited, like that kind of sets a tone that we can't do what you just talked about, Annie. You know, like if somebody goes a little too far, we can't. And two, that I have a conversation with Pete Holmes. I have a conversation with Father John Misty that'll be on the show. Not exactly safe for the little ears at certain moments. Yeah. So what do we do with that? I don't want an explicit rating on my podcast.
Unedited, unbleeped, untamed.
That's your new Twitter bio, Cameron.
My thing is, I think maybe it'll be unedited, but that doesn't say unbeat.
Uncensored. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you guys are both fantastic interviewers. I watched something this the last couple of days that made me appreciate the difference between a great interview and an awkward interview. Cameron, I know you were involved. You got to experience some of the NBA Media Day earlier this week. And
yeah, that's right. The Magic invited me out to Media Day, not as media, but just as that crazy fan who yells, and they know that I like to hang out and do stuff.
That really has gotten you far, Cameron. Being a jerk to the other teams really has done the thing for you.
Annie, you're putting it in the wrong context. It's being basically a sixth man, and because sports are mostly mental. If you get in their heads, it's all in the context of the game. It's not like if Cameron walked up on the street on one of these guys, he would insult them in street clothes. It's all. He keeps on the court. It's all fair game.
I keep it loose. I keep it light. I keep it fun. Yeah. I just razz the refs. I razz the other guys. But Try to give my team an
Did you
advantage.
guys see the Kawhi Leonard interview from Media Day yesterday?
No, what happened? I didn't watch any NBA media this week. What happened?
Okay, so Kawhi Leonard, who was traded to the Toronto Raptors after basically not playing, saying that there's been some people that have questioned the legitimacy of a season-ending injury, but basically he said he didn't want to play for San Antonio anymore, kind of forced the trade. A lot of people are curious about what his motivations are, if he wants to be like more in a more marketable market, and he's trying to position himself as like one of these hallmark players because he's generally known as a pretty low-key guy. Though he's one of the best players in the league, he's not seen as someone who has like the personality of like a LeBron or a KD or something. He seems pretty low-key. He was at his Toronto press conference and like he was asked like, what do you want people here in Toronto to know about you? And he's like, I'm a fun guy. I'm not going to get into a whole spiel. It's your job to ask me why I'm a fun guy. And the guy's like, and then Kawhi Leonard goes, I don't even know where you're sitting. And I saw Kawhi Leonard name trending on Twitter, and I was so curious of why. And it was because people were fascinated by this exchange, but particularly his laugh, because it sounded like he realized he was not sounding like a fun, marketable guy, and then just went, ha 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 ha, and gave the weirdest robot laugh ever. And I watched it probably 100 times last night, but I want to make it my ringtone, the Kawhi Leonard laugh. Ha 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 ha. Like, it will remind me of like when I'm doing interviews. Keep it genuine and don't make it as awkward as this poor guy made Kawhi Leonard feel,
And what would you like people to know about you?
I'm a fun guy. Obviously, I love the game of basketball. I don't even know where you're sitting at.
Here it comes.
Oh, no.
That's hilarious.
No.
And that exchange ends with Kawhi staring blankly and goes, ask a question. It's like,
oh, no. That's my fear. Like sitting down with somebody.
That's really fun.
Oh. The role that you guys have a very hard job being journalists. I mean, you have to talk to people that may or may not want to be interviewed. You know what I mean? Like their publicist set it up. They aren't in the mood. They had a rough morning, whatever. Me, I'm just, for this podcast, I'm just going, these are people I'm friends with or I'm fascinated by, and I just want to have a conversation. You know what I mean? So it's like not going to be awkward. But man, that's just tough. That's just tough.
I think we all have tricks of the trade, though.
That's brutal.
To get people warmed
Jesse,
up.
have you ever had, you don't need to name names or anything, but have you ever had an interview that was just like, it's not gonna, this isn't working?
Well, Hannibal Buress, he's told this one. I mean,
yeah, well, that one, because I asked him a question I knew that he did not want to be asked, and that he basically, but like the thing is, like, I can't not ask it, like in that case, like it was
journalistic,
from the context was, he was essentially, credited with, kind of helping to reignite the outrage against Bill Cosby during a stand-up routine. But he kind of, Hannibal Buress didn't want to be known for that. He had kind of conflicted feelings about it. And it was just a known thing. Don't ask him about this. But, I didn't do it to be a jerk. But at the same time, my role isn't to be his friend. You know what I mean? Like, my role in that context is to be a journalist and to ask someone a question that I feel like has important social implications and that our readers would expect me to ask. So I think there are plenty of times where, in an interview, especially in the context of, I'm not friends with a lot of these people, and I don't plan on like the interview being like an impetus for a friendship, because a lot of the people that we talk to, it's like I have a duty to ask them something that may make them uncomfortable, but that's kind of the exchange here,
That's been my full experience here at Relevant. You just asked me questions that made me feel massively uncomfortable.
Press.
Yes.
Tyler, I mean, not to give away everything, but last week on Friday's podcast, we talked about the fact that we were trying to land Mr. Marky Mark.
Oh my gosh.
Not the Funky Bunch, but Mark Wahlberg. And on Monday this week, Mr. Tyler Huckabee interviewed Mark Wahlberg, and Tell it.
Was
tell
it
what happened.
awesome? I mean, our text stream.
I don't want him to. I'll say this, Tyler. You can give them the funny part, but don't give them where it went, because I feel like I want to save, because this is going to be in a future issue. So don't give them too much about the goods.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, well, this will just be a teaser.
Based on what we talked about last week about Mark Wahlberg's, it's gone viral. His daily routine. He gets up at 2:30 in the morning and prays for half an hour. We broke down his whole day. Thought of ways that maybe he doesn't have to get up at 2:30 in the morning, but he's made his bed. This is his choice.
You are really bothered by the way by him getting up that early. You want one conversation where you can tell him there's another way.
There's another way, Mark Wahlberg. Anyway, what did he say to you? You talked to him at 1:45 in the afternoon. What was the opening exchange, Tyler?
Hold on. For more context, he talked to him in the middle of the afternoon, which is very, very close. It was creeping up on his bedtime, because Mark Wahlberg is on the record at going to bed at 7:15.
This was early afternoon.
Wow.
And we opened the call, and I hear from the other end of the line, "Hello." And I was like, "Hey, Mark, this is Tyler. How you doing?" "I'm really tired. I've been up since 2:30 in the morning."
I couldn't believe it. Part of me wants to believe he's an actor who just knows we all know he gets up at 2:30 and he was just pretending.
I wanted to scream. That's just the beginning of what it was, a roller coaster of an interview. Lots of great details to come on the rest of the conversation.
He came alive at one point, but
that's true. Things did perk up. I just had to get him on the subject that he wanted to talk about.
When y'all hung up.
Yeah, how did he close the conversation?
Till that part.
Then the last part was, so we talked we had about 25 minutes. And started wrapping up. We're told to, give him the call sign to start wrapping up. And so I was like, "Well, hey, Mark, this has been a really great conversation. Thanks, Tyler." Click.
Hey, the man is regimented. His clock ticked. He's got to go into cryogenics, right?
I think he was late for his cryogenics.
Yeah. We know. I mean, his schedule is open in the public. We knew that he was 5 minutes late for a cryogenic recovery, followed by his third 2-hour snack of the afternoon before bed,
and then time with his family.
I was cutting into a 30-minute golf game. Moved probably down to a 25-minute golf game. You can't do much on a golf course in 25 minutes.
Oh, man. And then he played golf at 4 in the morning. It's really early. It's before breakfast or something.
He's got to have an indoor course. And doesn't he live in Boston still? Isn't he very northern? So it's probably gets too cold in the winter for that schedule to be true.
I'll tell you this, all the questions you guys have right now are going to be answered. We got into it.
I always, and I've told, I don't want to give too many secrets, not that anyone cares. It's not like these are proprietary or something, but I always start the same thing, because it's people on the phone, usually have very limited time, and you know that you don't really have time to get them warmed up on a personal level. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I have to deal with Tebow today. Tell me how. What do you do?
Oh, you didn't say this on the show, Annie. Later today for your podcast. That sounds fun. You're interviewing
Tim Tebow.
Tebow.
I get 15 minutes. Yeah. So tell me, Jesse, what's the secret? That's my concern.
Future Mr.
How do you get Tim Tebow to cry?
I always do the same thing. And it sounds like I'm doing it out of courtesy, but it's just, I always say, hey, thanks so much. Does now still work? Oh, yeah, it should work. I'm like, oh, are you, where are you at right now? You know what I mean? Are you in LA? Are you in, so a lot of, and that always leads to, well, I'm actually in the car going to this thing, or actually I'm at my manager's office and we're doing this. Oh, that's cool. And then either you have some point of relation, you've been there, or if they're like, oh, I gotta, I'm on my way to my kid's thing. And it's like, oh, you got kids? Tell me about that. You know what I mean? And it always humanizes them and disarms them right out of the gate.
That's not going to work for Tebow, the kid question.
And that was a way more serious answer than I thought for sure you were going to give me. I appreciate you so much.
Jesse's
right
a pro.
now.
Hey, I'm telling you.
I'm so grateful.
Well, we've all done, I was thinking the other day, it's been hundreds and hundreds of Tyler, you too. I'm sure you can't even count. But the hard thing is interviewing is really weird. These are two people who have never met, that and one is asking the other one very deep questions that the other one's expected to answer. There's no other social construct where that happens. It's a very weird dynamic.
Could I provide my take, Annie, real fast? Somebody else who's had a lot of interview experience. I'd start similar to how Jesse does it. What are you up to right now? And they're like, oh, I'm driving. I'm driving to my office or something like that. Oh, that's really interesting. If that car were to crash right now and you were to die, where do you, and then you were to go to heaven, St. Paul to say, why should I let you in? What would you tell?
Again, as Cameron mentioned, that will not work for Tim Tebow.
You know, just go right in and give the people what they want, because you just say, go as hot button as you can. Tebow, let's jump right in. I want to talk about your personal romantic life and the Kaepernick situation. Which one do you want to start with? Let's go. Let's hear it.
Which one?
Oh, you got a book coming out? I'll plug that. Do your plug real quick. Do your plug, and then let's hit Kaepernick in your date, you know?
Yeah.
Annie, unlike us, you're on the receiving end of being interviewed a lot because you're a famous author, a best-selling author. And like when I was down a few weeks ago and we talked about being at that Christian radio conference thing, Shauna, our friend Shauna Nequist, was there and she was being interviewed. And I was with her. I was a fly on the wall when the guy who was interviewing her was kind of prepping with her before the segment, you know? And this is like a radio guy, you know? And the thing that is so painful that I couldn't handle, like if I were you, Annie, like being interviewed, is like, I only want to talk to people I'm actually interested in. I mean, with Relevant, we get to choose who we want to interview. We want to interview them because we're interested in them. A lot of these like radio stations and book tour things, like it's like publicists work it out and it's like, it's just foisted onto the host. He doesn't know anything about you or your book. He doesn't really care. And he's going to like just ask you the same old plug and play 4 questions that the publicist gave him. Like, that's so painful to me. Like, and watching, you know, the guy kind of prep with Shauna and like, you could kind of tell he didn't really know who she was. And I'm like, it just wasn't going to be interesting. And
you want to be like, dude, Shauna is a big deal, man. You're getting to talk to someone that is just amazing.
You're blowing this, Chief. You're
That's
blowing
what I'm saying. Like, how do you handle those like awkward, like clearly right away, you know, this guy doesn't know anything about me or care. Like, how do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel, I know in question number 1 if they know who I am at all. And so that determines, it's like the path splits really early. Either we're best friends or we're just going to get through, and they don't care. They care way less than I care. And so I just have to care enough for both of us.
Do you have any horror stories, Annie? Like any, like that was like you were the interviewee and you're like, that
like,
was,
did it
that
ever
did
get
not go well?
combative? Like, it's almost like it annoyed you to the point that like he could tell you're annoyed and then he's annoyed and then it's almost like,
no, because
I
I'm
don't
better
want
at
to be here
faking it
anymore.
than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they would never know.
When I think Annie F. Downs, I think she's great at faking it. You know?
Yeah, Annie, look and see how happy she is with us every week.
I would seriously have an irresistible temptation not to make up every single thing about my past and change it I'd be like the Joker. You want to know how I got these scars? And everyone would be different. Like, so tell me where you grew up. Oh, it's a crazy story. I was actually born on a shipping freighter in the Mediterranean. The first 3 years of my life were out there. They were actually abducted by pirates for a brief time.
Right.
Every time.
And
I would give every interviewer the interview of their life with, you know, and I would just lie every time just for, look, I'm helping you out and I'm helping me out.
Yeah.
You get a better interview and I'm way more interesting because my past isn't that exciting.
Yeah.
But let's just realize with the exchange here and help each other out, you know, or else you're going to get a Kawhi litter.
I'm for sure going to do that. Y'all know my laugh's going to be on every interview I ever do.
I mean, for me, even late night interviews are so painful. I mean, it's so completely pre-rehearsed. The interview doesn't know anything about I mean, even if it's Fallon or whatever, it's still light and fun and entertaining, but it's just like so, I don't know, templated. You know what I mean? It's
Colbert's pretty good.
Colbert is,
Colbert's
Fallon is the
good,
worst of all of them in terms of being like rehearsed.
It's like to be a good interviewer, you need to listen. You know, you need to like. It's almost like maybe you have like, I know that there's a story or a point that we want to get to, but like, you know, but being present and actually like talking to the person and not just having the next question on a card like ready to go, but actually like engaging like makes a big difference. You know?
The one rule that in all seriousness, the rule, because it is the worst when they have like, you know, Fallon's like, so I heard something funny happened when you were going through security at the airport last week, you know, like that's the worst. But like,
that is the worst.
This, in all seriousness, like, I've realized that great interviews aren't because of great questions or because of great follow-up questions. Like, you know, like it's always in the follow-ups that you get good stuff. Like the question's just to get the ball rolling. Like you don't know where the interview is going to go. Like, You know what I mean? Like if you, like Cameron said, if you try to direct it, it's going to come across like that. Asking good follow-ups is where you get the good stuff.
I think it's just been the hardest part, or the biggest thing that I feel like I've had to learn doing interviews is when to stick to the script that you have of like the questions that you came with, and when to there's more going on here. Let's leave the script and talk.
Let
about
it be.
this.
Yeah. So you asked me my worst story from being interviewed. My actual worst story ever is from when I was interviewing. It was about a year ago, and it was a musician who was going to be on my podcast, and he had been late and it was over Skype, and he had been late.
We don't want to call him out, but it was Carmen.
No. You really don't want me to call him out when I tell you what happened. And he was late, and then had an interview, like his publicist, I guess he was at his publicist's office, and had stacked a bunch of us in a row. And it was a short one, but I didn't know they were stacked in a row. And so we get through our like 20 minutes or whatever. And then he says, "So sorry, I have to go." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, thanks so much for being on the show." And he thought he had hung up, and he hadn't. And he apologizes to his assistant and says, "So sorry. She's such a talker," about me.
Oh no.
And I was like,
Who was it?
We gotta know.
I was not like, we were having a conversation. I mean, it hurt my feelings so much.
Who was it? Let's
And
hear it
I
right
never
now.
put it out.
Luke Bryant.
Gotta know.
Luke
Cameron
Bryant.
Strang. No, I'm just kidding.
It was not me because I've never been interviewed by
call
Andy
him
Uptowns.
M.W. Smith. No, I want to say
too close.
We'll call him Michael
It's
W.S.
too close.
We'll call him Michael W.S.
No, I'm not telling you. But
Man,
I mean, that's been my
tough.
most, like, that's been the worst. And here's the other thing I know. I would always rather learn a lesson like that on the receiving end than the giving end. And so, cause he realized it had happened, and I ran into him at a restaurant last week. And this has been, I mean, it was last year. I ran into him at a restaurant, and he's weird.
Did you throw like a hot bowl of soup in his face?
It's so, yeah, it's not. So that's my worst story, is not hanging up on Skype and hearing someone talk mean about me. And I didn't mean to be a talker. I'm just an Annie.
Me and Daz were at Lollapalooza a few weeks ago or whatever, and like we were in the media tent, like kind of game planning the day, and there was people from another publication like doing the same thing, like, you know, doing their huddle, and they're like, "Okay, what are you gonna ask? Okay, where'd their band name come from? What, you know, what's the craziest thing on?" And I'm like, these people, you realize, like, okay, there are a lot of ways to ask uninteresting questions that people have heard 1,000 times, you know, like a lot of it is just like, be interested and be present, talk to them like a normal human, not, you know, someone you're trying to, you know, get a couple pull quotes from, you know.
For me, that's the thing for us, like choosing who we're going to interview, who we're going to cover. It's like, find the thing that is uniquely interesting about them or their story that we can tell, that, you know, like maybe they haven't been asked by other publications. What's that unique thing? And let's make sure that's what we talk about. I mean, and if we don't have that unique thing that we actually are compelled by, don't book an interview with them. You know what I mean? That's the fun for the podcast I'm doing. I've been kind of working on it for a long time, just, you know, thinking about what it is and the purpose and the tone. And I, you know, these guys have helped me like prep for some of the conversations. Like, you know, I used to go into these conversations with like 3 or 5 questions that I knew I'd want to get to. You know, we'll kind of go down this tent pole, and then when it runs out, I have another one to get to or whatever. But lately, the ones I've been recording, like I want to have this conversation because I'm interested in this person, and I know why I'm interested in them. I don't need to prep for an interview. I've had the mentality that we're like going to dinner, and so like I just want to get in there and talk to them.
Cameron, I can't wait to hear the show. I'm so excited.
I don't prep for going to dinner with the person, so like. And it's always engaging and natural and, you know, whatever. And so it's like, well, let's just record that. And so I've stopped prepping. Like, I don't have any questions when I go in now.
Same.
Just sit down and talk to them. They're people.
Yeah.
You know?
And a lot of times those people find that refreshing because like most people they talk to.
Those people, Jesse.
No, I said most people that they talk to in those, under those, you know, circumstances, like a journalist talking to, you know, an artist or something, the artist expects to be asked roughly the same questions, maybe rephrased, but ask about the new album inspiration.
Yep.
a lot of times when someone wants to just talk on a more human level, they open up more because it's refreshing because they don't have to do the same interview one more time, you know?
Right.
Somebody mentioned that. I don't think we've actually gotten to publish this one yet. I hope we do at some point in the future, but I'll just brag on myself. We had an interview with Albert Hammond Jr. of the Strokes. And I was a big Strokes fan. Yeah. And at the end of our conversation, that's what he said. He said, can I just tell you how refreshing it is to actually have a conversation instead of just answer a list of questions? And it's not necessarily easy to do. Try to have a conversation with somebody who you don't know and you're over the phone and you only got 15 minutes to get through what you need to. But when you see it on like late night TV or when you hear Terry Gross do it or something like that, you can tell a real difference. It's insightful. You learn a lot about not just the celebrity or the interesting person that they're talking to, but also a little bit about just kind of what it means to be a person. And hopefully their stories, like any good story, opens up something that's fascinating about you too. It makes you consider your own life. So it's nice that we get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and y'all are so professional, the two of you. And there's me and Cameron.
When you guys hear like great conversationalists, great interviewers, Terry Gross, Ira Glass, are you inspired by them? Do you like break down like why is this so good in your mind, or is it almost like intimidating?
I do with Alec Baldwin's every episode of Alec Baldwin's. I do that.
Alec Baldwin's podcast is absolutely inspirational to me. Like it is. Yeah. What I found is the common thread with his is that he is genuinely friends with or curious about everybody he interviews.
That's right. So that's how engaged. That's how I built my show, Cameron, I watched how Alec Baldwin did it. And I thought, I love that he is genuinely connected to every single person he talks to. And that's one of my like baseline rules for That Sounds Fun is I got to have some sort of connection or care.
Yeah. Which is why you've never had me on.
Hey, are we about to have this conversation? What happened when we asked you to be on, Cameron?
I said, thank you for the opportunity. Let me know when. And then nobody followed up.
Oh, gosh.
No, you were like, I'm way too busy. We'll see what we can do.
I said, I talk to Annie enough every week.
Yeah, serious. But and Jesse, we're scheduling with you too. Yeah. We're going to get everybody on, you guys.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're talking to you.
Hey, well, we have a great show coming up for you. Coming up later, Elevation Worship joins us. They have a new great album releasing today. You won't want to miss it. So we have a fascinating interview with them coming up later.
I asked them where their band name comes from. Tell me about that.
That's the craziest thing that's ever happened on stage.
I do want to clarify that it's Elevation Worship because originally when we were in the podcast planning meeting last week, the rundown for this episode had Essential Worship on it. And I thought, I've never heard of Essential Worship. And so because
I made them up via typo.
So I look them up on Spotify, and Essential Worship has had a total listen of 2,000 times on Spotify. And I thought, Jesse, this is a very odd selection. They're not big enough to carry a show. And so we bumped it. And it turns out it's actually Elevation Worship, which is definitely big enough to carry a show. So
Essential Worship, if you're listening, keep plugging away.
Yeah, keep going Essential Worship. One of these days, we'll ask you where
Jesse's
you got your
rooting
band
for
name
you.
from.
He's pulling for you. But moving the show along, it is time for our look back at what happened this week in culture and entertainment. It's time for
In Case You Missed It.
Hey, in case you missed it, this week, big week for Lauren Daigle. Her new album topped Drake, Post Malone, and Ariana Grande in sales in its first week. Look Up Child debuted on the Billboard 200 at number 3 this week with 115,000 units sold. By comparison, Arcade Fire's Everything Now hit number 1 when it released with 100,000 units sold. So given, if it was a different week, she could have the number 1 spot.
Different week. I know. That's so
it's
brutal.
because of, what else is out.
Well, she's behind the new Paul McCartney album and Eminem.
Man, isn't that amazing though? And y'all know the whole story that she took a year off, even at the height, literally at one of the height of her career before right now. She felt like she needed to rest and felt like the Lord kind of was saying to her, like, hey, take a year off. And her whole team was like, we trust you. But we don't know. And she did.
Well, let me say this. I actually recently read a very fascinating and surprising interview about that time in her life that a lot of people can read in the upcoming issue of
Relevant Magazine.
Well, there you go. I just lived it. I was here. And so it's amazing to watch someone honor what they hear in their heart, what they hear from God, and what they feel for their soul needs to happen. And then to come back and make such beautiful, I mean, that album, I can't quit it. So I'm just so dang proud of LD.
Look Up Chandler is still. I think we ruined it for every podcast listener.
For sure we did.
Cannot, if y'all didn't hear that episode where we were talking about, I think it was the Chili's episode.
Yeah.
The very first one.
Aren't they all the Chili's episodes?
We pontificated where
People
the
keep
name.
on tagging me and Lauren Daigle stuff on Twitter and Instagram.
Chandler, I love how we've ruined your life. It just makes me so happy.
We said, I mean, if you didn't hear it, we said it's plausible that this song was originally called Look Up Chandler, and it was based on experience when she was in the studio last year, and Chandler was walking around playing Pokemon Go, carelessly bumping into her band equipment. So, I mean, we don't know that Chandler's not responsible for this great achievement.
The song works with Look Up Chandler.
It's the best debut by a solo Christian female artist in nearly 20 years. It's amazing.
Do we know? This is a quiz question. Yeah. Who was it? What was 20 years ago?
I think it was Amy Grant.
No, Amy Grant's Baby would have been in 30 years ago.
That would have been like 25 years ago at least.
Well, early 90s,
Jesse,
92.
get on that research, bud.
92, so it would have been 26 years ago.
Okay.
So, but that could have been her.
Could have been Amy Grant.
Heart in Motion.
More than 20 years ago. Isn't that what your actual text
says?
says?
In nearly 20 years is what it says.
Nearly 20 years. So what was 19 years ago?
29? Would it have been Jackie Velasquez?
No, she didn't get that high on Billboard.
She didn't get on Billboard, did she?
Kathy Tricoli. Let's just start listing names.
I mean, you've had NF had a #1, Billboard #1. You've had Lecrae had a Billboard #1.
Yeah.
Female. It said
yeah,
female.
so
Right?
I'm going back to
VeggieTales women?
No, let's talk about it. Should we talk about it?
Doesn't pass the Bechdel test, if you ask me.
Sandy Patty?
Problem.
I don't know.
There are no strong women in VeggieTales.
Hey, in case you missed it. Oh, that's weird. No, there's female characters.
No, none of them that are, I mean, there's like moms and...
No,
but
there's
no
the
like
little
lead.
asparagus daughter and stuff.
There's got to be
There's a
woman
mom
VeggieTale.
asparagus. Who else? Cameron, go.
Well, yeah, the daughter is asparagus and stuff. You're right. Not an adult vegetable.
But the little
female.
guy is Junior. He's a boy.
He is a boy, but he has a mom. The mom and dad asparagus exist. We see them. Nobody has arms. There's just a lot of problems.
There's a lot of problems. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I do. Yeah. Yeah, I've thought a lot about it, and yeah, there's a lot of plot holes when you really start digging into it.
Do your kids like VeggieTales, Jesse?
Well, no, I have a big problem with, there's a show, and no one's going to care, but there's a show called Bubble Guppies that my daughter always watches.
Bubble Guppies
so
is the
cute.
worst as far as like logic. I can't stand it. The breathing thing.
It's underwater. The whole premise is there's these little mer people underwater, and but they like ignore that all the time, and it rains under there.
It does rain.
And it's like there's one. I'm like, it's underwater. Like the only premise of this show is that it takes place underwater, or like it's like day and night, or it'll have a snow episode. I'm like, they don't even care. They know it's like, it's just so lazy, that they've just stopped trying. And I kind of appreciate about that, because in the Bubble Guppies writer room, they're like, okay, what if they go to a water park in one episode? They're like, dude, that's under the ocean. How would that be possible? And they're just like, no, let's just do the water park thing. We've run out of stuff. I kind of appreciate it,
Hey, in case you missed it, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz has opened up a free food truck called, wait for it, Thy Kingdom Crumb.
No,
If I hadn't seen like an interview with him, I would have totally thought this was reverse engineered. Like, it wasn't like, hey, I want to create a free food truck for the homeless. We need to think of a clever name. I want to think of it as Carson Wentz one night was lying asleep in bed and just popped up and went, "Thy Kingdom Crumb," and he was like, "It's too good of a name." It's how I pictured Speed 2 Cruise Control came about. Like, they didn't have a plot. Someone's like, hey, it'd be cool if we did a sequel to Speed and it was called Cruise Control, and it was about terrorists that took control of a cruise ship, and they're like, it's too good of a name, we have to make it. And that's what I feel like Thy Kingdom Crumb is.
So he partnered with a local church to launch the food truck. It gives away food for free. Along with parking at all Eagles games, the food truck will also focus on going to areas in need around the community. Here's a clip of Carson Wentz discussing the vision for Thy Kingdom Come.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is sharing the love of Christ. You know, we're going to provide them food, and we believe that'll physically fill a need, but we want to fill a spiritual need along the way, and we'll just see with more donations and how much we can bring in to just provide maybe a couple times a week, and Lord knows if this will, take off and be a multiple food truck type thing in multiple locations. We're creating the blueprint as we go here, so it's pretty fun.
Oh, I feel bad.
No, sir. I won't let you. Do not feel bad. Thy kingdom come. Come on.
I like that.
So stupid.
Annie, so you're suggesting boycotting it because of the pun? Because it's a roll. Basically, it's a rolling
Christian
dad
t-shirt.
joke, and you want no part of it.
Yeah. No. I think it's a beautiful thing they're doing. I think that Carson Wentz, I think that is the dad joke of the year. I mean, that's so hardcore dad joke to me.
But it's basically every Christian coffee shop. I mean, they all have names like that.
Yeah,
like
that's right. Hebrews. How many
Grounds,
Hebrews are there across the nation?
Yeah.
I can tell you because I've been in about all those churches on a Saturday.
Yeah, Holy Grounds.
Lots of Hebrews. Yeah.
Hebrews and Holy Grounds. It's like the Seinfeld reference where it's like, I don't want to go to those back stores that they always have some dumb name like Good Vertebrations or Back in Business. He's like, well, not this one. This one's called the Lumbar Yard.
Hey, in case you missed it, Mumford Sons is still alive.
Happy.
They released a very spiritually themed new song this week. It's called Guiding Light, and it's the band's first song in 2 years. It's off an upcoming album called Delta. Like some of their past songs, the lyrics seem to have a lot of faith references. At one point, Marcus Mumford sings, "Well, I'm still in awe of you. Discover some new truth that was always wrapped around you." The question is it a capital Y or not? I don't know.
Yes.
In the chorus, he sings, "'Cause even when there is no star in sight, you'll always be my only guiding light." Here is a clip.
Don't just sit with folded hands and become blind. 'Cause even when there is no star in sight, you'll always be my only guiding light.
Yeah, that's definitely talking about Jesus. I couldn't tell if it was talking about like a girl he was in love with, but no, I think it's...
Theater of the Minds, Tyler Huckabee has fallen asleep 4 times since we started talking about this, which is so rude because Mumford Sons is my favorite band.
Sorry. I've been up since 2:30 this morning. I'm trying this new thing.
And Mumford Sons is your nap.
Yeah, talking to Mark Wahlberg really got him. It changed his life.
In a way, I feel like he's the one who interviewed me. I would left changed.
Yeah, he said it to Tyler. He said, "Is it leg day for you, or is this more kind of a back and shoulders day?"
Delta, the album Delta releases in November.
Wait, the rest of y'all? What do you think? Are you excited about it? I'm thrilled.
If it was 2011, I would be. But
oh. Tough crowd. Yeah, I mean, all 3 of you, tough crowd.
I'm never gonna hate on something. I'm glad that a lot of people are excited about it. I'm glad people are excited about it.
When the concert tickets go on sale, I want all of you to try to buy them, and I will buy them back from you and go to all the shows.
Are they coming here? Are they
I
coming
hope so.
Nashville?
They haven't announced it yet, but don't you know I pre-ordered that album so I can get pre-sales on the tickets?
It would shock me if they didn't have a residency in Nashville.
Right.
They just played Nashville every night for a year and
like
went from barn wedding. Yeah, they went to barn wedding to do receptions like all around town. They bring their own hang lights and mason jars for fancy cocktails.
I love them.
give out suspenders, non-ironic suspenders, and take people's socks at the door. That's their.
Jesse, I love this life you've built that exists in Nashville.
You're dressed like a butcher from the gangs of New York at a wedding. It's like he's so little class, Mumford Sons.
Oh my gosh.
I honestly wonder if 2 years was enough of a break, because it was like oversaturation.
Yeah.
And they launched, a trend, obviously. I mean, the Lumineers followed that sound. There's some Christian worship band that followed
Monsters
that
and
sound.
Men. Like there are a lot
Monsters
of those.
and Men.
They defined a brief but really influential moment.
Well,
their last album, they kind of went electric.
Yeah,
that's true.
They tried to go all banjo, which made me sad. Winston
if you take away the banjo jangle gimmick thing, at the core, it's like Arcade Fire or U2, where it's like anthemic courses. You know, it's like build up, and then you're singing at the top of your lungs. It's not a bad song structure. It's just musically kind of like a narrow window of time where it was trendy. So it's like if they can evolve, they're good songwriters and they have substantive content. It's just a matter of, it'll be interesting to see what Delta sounds like sonically.
Yeah, exactly.
Lucky for them, I don't need them to evolve. I just want them to keep doing what they've always done well. So they've got 25% support in this crowd.
They get a kick drum, some gang vocals where they all yell "Hey" occasionally, and look like you.
Hey was the Lumineers, by the way. Yeah. Come on, Jesse. In case you missed it, this week Jon Hamm had some powerful thoughts about the stigma surrounding mental health issues. The actor was recently a guest on In Depth with Graham Bensinger and opened up about losing both of his parents at a young age. He said he tried to deal with the depression that followed by himself, being a tough Midwesterner, but eventually his sister convinced him to see a therapist who helped him with his mental health and put him on a medication that changed his life. Here's a clip of Jon Hamm talking about why it's okay to be open about mental health.
Seeing the therapist at that time was profoundly helpful because it does what it does. It gives you another perspective on something that you can't quite figure out. And she was able to really kind of, again, reorient my kind of way of thinking. And she put me on a medication that changed my brain chemistry enough to where, okay, I'm feeling a little better. I can get up and go to work. I can get up and go to school. I can do my work on time. I can self-motivate again. I mean, sometimes that's what you need. And it's like, it's got the most interesting stigma, but people think if you break your ankle, you're not expected to just walk it off.
Right.
But if your brain chemistry is somehow a little tweaked, you're somehow expected to just deal with it. It's like, well, but there's a medicine that fixes it.
There you go.
That's great. Good on him.
Yeah, especially someone who has like the kind of, I feel like Jon Hamm has sort of a persona as like this like hyper masculine, super, together
He's really
tough guy.
associated with Don.
Yeah.
And he's even suggested he wants to play like Batman, like another kind of like dark sort of anti-hero, but essentially a similar persona. But to hear someone like him talk about vulnerability and mental health, I think is really refreshing and surprising in a really good way.
It's interesting. A lot of his more memorable roles, are characters that could have definitely used some therapy at a younger age.
I think Don could have used a counselor.
Don Draper. Think about all the holes he's trying to fill. Think about the guy on Bridesmaids. The
jerk.
He was so funny in Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
If he gets Batman, that's interesting that he's drawn to those characters that have kind of like,
serious emotional deficiencies.
But the best person to play somebody like Don Draper is somebody who understood that Don Draper is he's not somebody to aspire to, which is the mistake a lot of guys made watching those first couple seasons of Don. But you need somebody who can be better than that.
Well, also at the first couple of seasons, wasn't he a little more, he was like middle of the road, just a little south. And then as it kept going, he just went more south,
they
right?
kind of showed him pre-deconstruction before, while he could still keep the artifice of
because I remember my guy friends thinking he was so cool. And so like you said, the guy they kind of want to be like, and then that stopped being what they said.
They pulled the rug out from all of us.
Yeah, eventually stuff catches up to you too. That's that's one of the themes of the show. If you build your life on lies, it'll eventually come out.
I wondered if the show they set out to create really was about the early 60s, advertising scene and kind of how like, we've seen movies, about like the era of 70s rock and whatever. And I wondered if it was just trying to capture that moment in time. And then they realized that there's a lot more depth and nuance to these characters. And they started, I just wondered if they went into the show thinking about the arc that it ultimately took, or if it happened, organically. Because it turned into a very different show. Like people who loved the first couple seasons, a lot of them couldn't handle the last few seasons. You know what I mean? It was dark.
Well, and the other thing too is like how much of a cultural metaphor was it? Because it started, in a time when consumerism and consumption was made to be glamorous, and no one was looking at the dark side of it. And and what a culture built on the message of your life won't be complete unless you have this. Like that was Don Draper's entire job. It was to come up with that messaging. And like his life really paralleled in a way how we think about consumerism. It'll sneak in and it's insidious, and eventually the bottom will fall out either because you're too in debt or you realize you built your life on something that's, totally artificial,
But I do think the bulk of the American mainstream culture kind of missed the boat on that, because you remember there was that big Banana Republic campaign about the Mad Men fashion. I think Don Draper can be largely credited with bringing old fashions back as a popular cocktail option. And these things are really stripped away and reveal that these things are just shields that Don's holding up to protect himself from the truth about how bad his life is. And I think that once it started pivoting, like you said, Cameron, to focusing on that, a lot of people were like, well, I was really just here for like the sex part of the show. And if you're not going to do that, I don't know, because that's the uncomfortable part. It's the part after the story of Samson, when it stops being about a cool, strong guy in the Bible and starts being about a guy who also built his life on lies.
Yeah, I actually had, it was a parallel. I remember when the series shifted toward, divorce and his life started to really fall apart was when I was going through a divorce. It was like really like, it was just hard to watch. You know what I mean? It was just like things that you were chasing the wrong things, Don. And like, it was powerful toward the end, but anyway.
Y'all are all coming in very hot with your wisdom today. Well done, gents. I'm just real impressed. Keep it up.
Oh, you're right here. You're rolling right here. You're leading the way.
I'm really impressed. Y'all aren't being
She's like
stupid
the
as you usually are.
asparagus mom on the podcast. You know what I mean? She's mentoring and guiding the rest of the asparaguses.
Oh my gosh. I'm the mom asparagus.
Lastly, in case you missed it, this week, Chris Pratt says that Hollywood isn't, drumroll please, anti-Christian. He recently sat down with the AP, and when asked about why he talks about his faith so often, he explained that kind of a message, it might not be for everybody, but there's a group of people for whom that message is designed. Nothing fills my soul more than to think that maybe some kid watching that would say, hey, I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about praying. Let me try that out. That's like the only way I feel I can repay what has essentially been a giant gift in my life. He also disputed the claim that Hollywood is against Christianity. Here's a clip.
Some people will accuse, I think, Hollywood of being very far left and being very progressive and thus like resistant to any type of religious ideas. But it seems they're kind of open to anything, including religious ideas. You know what I mean? So like I've never had anyone in Hollywood say, hey, stop saying that. And I think that there's this narrative that exists out there that Hollywood is anti-Christian or anti-religious, but it's just not the case. They're kind of not anti-anything. They're kind of pro whatever's authentic to you. And I like that because for me, it's authentic for me to be pro-Christian, pro-Jesus. That's my thing.
Hollywood is literally pro-selling tickets, pro-selling advertising. That's
if
all
Chris
it
Pratt,
is.
If you make them money, then they'll let you do whatever.
Do whatever you want.
What's so funny is like when we posted this, a portion of this on the site. Be sure to check it out and get great content every day. A little plug. But people were like, I was surprised at like the vitriol of the feedback. Like he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, oh, he's perpetuating a lot.
Our reader in Des Moines has an inside scoop that Chris Pratt doesn't know what he's talking about.
Hey, random dude in Ohio who, is like, I'm sure you know more than arguably the biggest male star in Hollywood right now.
Maybe
about
behind
that.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, aside from Wahlberg.
This has come up with a couple actors that I've talked to in Hollywood, and I did talk about it with Mark Wahlberg yesterday, and it's consistently the same thing. Like that they do not feel like their religious beliefs are like nobody cares as long as you go out there and you make the movies that pull in money. I mean, if they're going to let you be a Scientologist, they definitely don't care if you're going to be a Christian.
Yeah.
That's true. It's interesting. All right. Well, that'll do it for In Case You Missed It. Stay tuned. Up next, Elevation Worship joins us, not Essential Worship.
Keep it up, essential.
Essential oils and elevation worship.
Essential oil worship. It's
essential.
This isn't a Christian thing. I mean, these are people who worship essential oils. It's very
elevation oils.
Very concerning.
The new brand coming from Stephen Furtick.
Anointed with the elevation oils.
Anointed elevation oils.
Listening to Young and Sick. That's funny. The song is Sleepyhead. At the beginning of the podcast, you heard Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness with Ohio. Well, this week's show is brought to you by Samaritan Ministries, a healthcare sharing ministry with over 250,000 Christians caring for one another's needs, from broken bones to cancer, pregnancies to organ transplants, all without the use of insurance. Samaritan Ministries member Darren knows what it's like to have a full schedule. Running his own business, traveling a lot for work, and navigating a household of 6 keeps him pretty busy. That's why Darren chose Samaritan Ministries as his family's healthcare option. He's able to travel anywhere knowing there's no networks, and he can access the care he needs when he needs it. On top of that, his monthly share for his large family is only $495, leaving funds to put towards his business. He says that the best part about it, though, is knowing his money is going directly to another member in need rather than lining the pockets of a corporation. This is healthcare for your real life. Annie, you're a member, right?
I am a member. I love it. It's been great. I like that every month you see exactly who your money's going to and what their need is, and I think it's pretty cool.
To learn more about how you can be part of this community of Christians helping each other with healthcare, visit SamaritanMinistries.org/relevant. There you go. Well, on their brand new album, Hallelujah, Here Below, Elevation Worship, the worship collective from Charlotte's Elevation Church, Pastor Stephen Furtick, offers a collection of deeply intimate, prayer-oriented ballads along with powerful anthems. We recently spoke with them about the inspiration for some of the album's standout tracks. Here is our conversation with Elevation Worship.
You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. Now I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul.
The worship genre is having what can kind of be described as a crossover moment right now. You have Lauren Daigle appearing alongside Eminem and Drake and Paul McCartney on the mainstream charts, and you have mainstream artists like Tori Kelly who are putting out worship albums or worship adjacent albums. So I'm wondering, as a worship group, how do you kind of prescribe this moment? Why do you think this crossover sort of period is happening right now?
I don't know altogether, but I think that what people are kind of growing tired of is like any pretension in maybe lyric writing or in their songs. And I think songs that are just becoming more honest are what people are connecting with, you know, whether it's like the commentary on where we are as a culture, where like we spend so much of our days existing in an alternate reality, you know, on our phones and in social world, and we're throwing up not real versions of ourselves, or we're looking at other people that, you know, with versions of themselves that aren't actually reflective of reality. I think that a lot of lyric writing that is just being vulnerable and being raw and expressing maybe struggles or realities of life or hardships or trouble, like that's ultimately where I think, genre aside, is what people are connecting with and are wanting, and we're tired of kind of seeing through or having to just maybe look at anything that potentially feels like just another plastic thing to us. And so I love all the artists you mentioned and seeing what they're doing in, crossing genres, so to speak. But I do think it's amazing to just see it. And I think it's like they're coming from an authentic expression of who they are,
Yeah, you make a smart point, because the Lauren Daigle album is really personal and is really honest about a lot of the places she had doubt and the places she was struggling. And it's kind of less this sort of like, I don't know, maybe like cliched, syrupy, like everything is going to be fine worship. And it's kind of having this honest dialogue with Jesus. And we're seeing something, similar going on with like the project Andy Mineo is putting together, this sort of 4-part series chronicling like his crisis of faith. And I feel like you're absolutely right that it's kind of meeting people in a different place, but that's where the people are, and that's important. I wonder how that manifests in the new music. Is there a particular song or moment on this new album that y'all would point to as sort of particularly representative of all these kind of like personal elements we're talking about?
One that jumps out would be a song called Here Again. It's a very vulnerable song, and it comes from it was written from a very personal place, a place that honestly had a lot of loneliness attached to it and questioning attached to it. But I think the Bible story that we chose to kind of center the song around is Genesis 28. So like you've got Jacob in the Old Testament being this like swindler, right? Like he's a hustler. He's not like a good dude. But it's interesting, we always grow up in church hearing the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it's like, Jacob was actually a terrible person. But in Genesis 28, he has this encounter with God, and he has this dream where he sees the ladder going to heaven, and he has this revelation that, wakes up and says, surely the presence of the Lord was here, and I wasn't even aware of it. We chose to center this song called Here Again around that story, because it's a song that the chorus says, I'm not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? All I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? And it's very desperate prayer, and a realization, I can't really take another step forward. I'm tired. I'm lonely. I'm desperate. And unless you show up, God, I'm not going to be able to make it. But as the song continues on, it has this same revelation that, that Jacob does it. God is not only found inside the church walls, and he's not only found in a spiritual, regulated to one place. The revelation that Jacob had was like, I thought you were this way, God, and I just realized that you're here now, even in my hustling, even in my mess, even in the lying that I've been doing, even in, this dysfunction that I carry. I just had this revelation that you meet me here. And I think that's the progression of our faith journey, is that we start and we meet God maybe at some point in our lives, and we have the revelation wow, God, I met God, there. Maybe I met God at this, youth night. And then you progress on the journey, and then you come in the revelation of wow, I'm actually a carrier of God's presence. God is here with me day and night. And I think, what I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to progress in the next step of my journey is then also seeing God everywhere, right? Seeing him in conversations with others, and not just being aware that he's with me, but actually being more aware that he's in the person I just passed on the street, and he's in this really, really messed up situation that someone is finding themselves in. God's there too. If he's not, then I actually don't believe that he's the God who I, proclaim that he is.
Try
That's cool, and I think it sort of relates well to sort of the thesis statement that you guys are illustrating as a whole on the record. This idea that being comfortable in approaching worship from a broken place, that the altar is made out of all these sort of like jumbled, cracked, broken stones, but there's still so much value and validity in worshiping the Father from that place. And I wanted to ask about sort of the title track in that sense, Hallelujah Here Below. Why select that as sort of the song that would lead the album and sort of be the thesis of the whole project?
You know that old hymn, the doxology, it says, "Praise God from whom all blessings flow, praise him all creatures here below." And so the actual line and title came from that second line of the doxology, praise him all creatures here below. I think the idea behind the message of the album and the idea behind that is that God doesn't need our worship, right? Like he doesn't need us to bring him something. He's got perfect worship happening in heaven all the time, and he's certainly taken care of up there with enough worship of himself. But Scripture says he inhabits the praises of his people, and so I think this, there's a command in Scripture that we would, as his creation, would bring something. And so this meeting that takes place when we bring our worship to God, that he would actually show up and meet with us too, and he would choose to do so even in our, going back to the Jacob thing, even in our mess and even in our lonely situations or even in our dysfunction, he would actually show up. And so it's this meeting of heaven and earth and our response, in the midst of that. And so I love that song. It's a hymn, so to speak, on the album. But I do love the message that it carries. We can offer, Leonard Cohen has that song, obviously, that everyone's familiar with, called Hallelujah. And he has that line in there, a broken hallelujah. And I love that we get to offer a broken hallelujah. It doesn't have to be a perfect hallelujah. It doesn't have to be a cleaned up version of a hallelujah or whatever, but we bring our honesty, and we bring him and we bring it to him, and he meets us there, and he's pleased in that offering. Like he's pleased with who we are. He knows us inside and out. So when we bring that in honesty, then that's bringing the best of who we are and what we have to bring.
That was Elevation Worship. Make sure to check out their new album, Hallelujah Here Below. It releases today.
And what you won't hear is my first question. How did you guys come up with the name Essential Worship?
Essential Worship.
That was your lead-in. We just edited it out so that the friendship seems real natural.
It went a little south. It got awkward. Thankfully, they're gracious people. So.
Say we're just friends, but I swear when nobody's around.
Hallelujah Here Below is Elevation Worship's newest album, and it's available now. In the Old Testament, God requests an altar to be built of imperfect stones. As living stones, he asks us to bring him our rough edges and our broken pieces. That's what Hallelujah Here Below is all about, worshiping God from wherever you are and knowing that he'll meet you there. You can find the album wherever music is available. And for more information on Elevation Worship, visit their website at elevationworship.com.
Nothing feels better than this. Nothing feels better. Nothing feels better than this. Nothing feels better. Nah. We don't got high. This is
listening to Khalid. The song is Better. Well, this week's episode is also brought to you by ZipRecruiter. There are job sites that send you tons of the wrong resumes to sort through or make you wait for the right candidates to apply for your job, and that's not smart. You know what is smart? Going to ZipRecruiter.com/relevant to hire the right person. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you, it finds them for you. Its powerful matching technology scans thousands of resumes, identifying people with the right skills, education, and experience for your job, and actively invites them to apply, so you get qualified candidates fast. No more sorting through the wrong resumes, no more waiting for the right candidates to apply. That's why ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. Actually, we have several openings right now at Relevant, and we put our sales position, our advertising account executive position on ZipRecruiter, and literally within a day got half a dozen totally qualified people.
That are like good people.
Yeah, like it's
Oh,
vetted.
that's good for me to know.
Yeah. ZipRecruiter works. It's really true. And right now, our listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/relevant. That's ZipRecruiter.com/relevant to try ZipRecruiter for free. ZipRecruiter.com/relevant.
You know, I heard that for this album, Mumford Sons was looking for a new stand-up bass player who looked like an old-timey cobbler from ancient London. Put it out. You got a new album coming.
I was hoping they were looking for like a mid-30s cute Christian author, female. I'd sign up. I'd learn to play the bass to be in Mumford Sons.
Well, it's time for your feedback. Last week on Friday's episode, we asked you our question of the week. It was, what is your ideal daily schedule? Because we were talking about Mark Wahlberg's ideal daily schedule. We wanted to know your ideal daily schedule. You guys hit us up on the podcast episode page at relevantmagazine.com. You also hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast. Here's a few of our favorites.
So Jeremiah says his ideal schedule is wake up while his newborn and his toddler and his wife are asleep, and check Twitter to see if Relevant messaged about being listener of the week, and then he moves on with his day, and then he sends Relevant another random fact and eats lunch. Anyway, here's why Jeremiah left a comment. We see you, Jeremiah. That's what we're here to say. We see you, and we notice you, and your schedule sounds great.
If I get one more Twitter notification at 2:30 a.m. when you wake up, I swear I'm blocking you from all
Jeremiah,
platforms.
this is your ideal schedule, man. You don't have to check Twitter. This is like dream big. Yeah, you're listener of the week every week in your ideal schedule.
You know, I realized the fatal flaw in last week's question of the week because we had like an extended talk early in the episode about busyness and like how to do less and do more priority. So I'm reading all of this stuff on Twitter. I'm like, none of these are funny. These are like, this is great advice about how to, I'm like, we asked that question on the wrong week.
That's right. We were joking around about Mark Wahlberg's packed schedule on a week that we had a very heartfelt 20-minute conversation about being spread too thin.
Yeah.
And juggling everything.
But I will read a couple of these, and then I have a throwback one that but Steve said for him that getting things done, like for his schedule, is really about the right things done based on priorities. Like, you know, which that's not doing stuff to do stuff. Scott gave a great quote from Bob Goff that said, "It's easy to confuse a lot of activity with a purposeful life." There's like a ton of like people that really connected with people, and I think people were trying to trim down their Mark Wahlberg schedules.
Hey, Mark pads it. He has plenty of time for snacks and family. I mean, he knows where the priorities
had a
are.
leisurely conversation middle of the day yesterday.
which for him was the middle of the night.
Yeah. For him was bedtime.
It's 1:45. I'm staying up late to talk to you.
Yeah. Cameron, I did have someone wrote us on Twitter, and this is an old reference, but he said that he's learned so much from listening to the podcast over the years. He said that neighborhood hooligans were shooting off fireworks late night by his house, and he remembered what to do by listening to you. He turned on his lights and stood on the porch staring at them, just like the hoodmen would do, and it totally works. They stopped shooting off the fireworks.
It's just awkward. If you were in a room doing something and somebody just stood at the edge of the room staring at you unbreakingly, you would leave the room eventually. It would just creep you out. And that's what happens with hooligans. You just stand there. I see you.
Happens with hooligans.
I don't mind awkwardness. I wait for the confrontation. You want to get weird? You want to get weird during your porch? Let's get weird. I'm shooting one your way. Let's get weird, man. You have no idea my awkwardness tolerance.
All right. Well, there's a lot more heartfelt feedback on the Twitter account if you want to go check it out. It's time for this week's
editorial question of the week. Hey.
Well, earlier in the show, we got talking about our dear quarterback hero, Carson Wentz, and his misguided attempt to help the community of Philadelphia. He started his food truck for the poor and the hungry.
It's great.
Thy kingdom come. It got us thinking about the worst possible Christian names for businesses. Every town in America has a Christian coffee house with a cringeworthy title. We all, probably saw the bad Christian pun t-shirts growing up. And so we want to know the worst Christian business titles that you've seen or just
Pitch
thought
them.
of.
Yeah, just make them up. Come up. You get as punny as you need to, Dad joke guy.
And I'll say this, I'll even give them leniency if it's a good pun. It doesn't necessarily, like if it's like a bowling team that's like the Holy Roller, sure, why not? I don't care if it's not a business. We just want the pun.
This is going to be your Shark Tank.
Best puns.
We will pick the best pun and we will fully fund your business.
But that's but what you're talking about is exactly what Jesse said. It's like it's speed and this, like it was like name first and then he'll build the business to make that name exist.
Just too good. It is too good of a
We
name.
have to open this business.
You get the right name. You don't need to worry about anything else.
All of
We'll
us
take
got
care of the
so
money.
much free time to open another company compared to the ones we're running. So let's do that.
Yeah, brand is everything. All we need is the name, and then we'll take care of the rest.
We have we've talked about it a lot. We all have tons of margin for that. So let's do it.
Well, hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast, or you can post on this episode page at relevantmagazine.com. Well, many thanks to the show's sponsors for making the episode possible. Remember, Samaritan Ministries, to learn more about how you can be part of this community of Christians helping each other with healthcare, visit SamaritanMinistries.org/relevant. And also thanks to ZipRecruiter. You can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/relevant. Also, thanks to Elevation Worship for joining us. Their new album, Hallelujah Here Below, is out today. Go check it out. It's great. Not to be confused with any other worship collectives.
Many thanks to Essential Worship. Appreciate it.
I just saw a notification comes in. It looks like the health department has shut down by Kingdom Crumb. They showed up, get this pun out of here. There's not for food. They don't want it. They don't want it.
The purpose is great.
This is a violation.
Yeah. Hey, a couple of internal updates. The new issue of Relevant is available now. It's featuring Johnny Swim, Bo Burnham, Foster the People, W. Kamau Bell, who actually, I've seen him in the media lately because he's in the first few episodes of the final season of Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown. He travels with him. He travels with Anthony to Kenya on the debut episode. Francis Chan and a ton more is in the issue. We want you to check it out. So we're going to give you the Johnny Swim issue for free if you go to relevantmagazine.com/I love the podcast. And if you can't get enough Johnny Swim after you see the new issue, we have some great video content that we made with them. Head over to Relevant's YouTube channel, or you can go to relevantmagazine.com and click on RTV, and you can see a couple of their performances here in the Relevant studio. And we just posted a couple of days ago a new video we did with them, the Love and Money Q&A. I mean, they're known as one of the couple goals, in our world. So we sat down and asked them the ins and outs of their relationship. It was really funny. It's a really funny video. Go check that out at our site. Hey, and also, I mentioned the Love and Money podcast, season 2, the second trailer, it's ramping up, is out now. Go check that out on iTunes. And the new season actually debuts next week. We are excited. We have a new host that we're going to be introducing, and the trailer tells you about her. Go check out the season 2 of the Love and Money podcast. While you're on iTunes, if you like our show, head over to the Relevant podcast listing on iTunes and rate it and leave a comment. If you don't like it, keep it to yourself. But if you love the show, tell other people. It helps it be seen. Jesse, you've been watching. We mentioned this last week. You've been watching the comments. Give us a taste of what the buzz, the scuttlebutt. What are the people saying about the show?
You talked about Love and Money. This is a couples activity. This one says my wife and I listen to the podcast all the time and love it. It's a couples activity. This one easily my favorite podcast in over the years. While others have come and gone, the excellence of Relevant shine through as they deftly address both current events and the pending robot uprising. See, we covered it all. This one was a little backhanded. Sadly, Jesse is probably my role model. Why is that sadly? You didn't need to put sadly. Like that would have been a fine review without it. So.
That's really
Jesse, sadly, you're people's role model because, like, I saw on Twitter this week, Canadian Running tweeted out, "What's the worst running advice you've ever heard?" And one of our listeners replied, "Anything that Jesse Carey has said on the Relevant podcast, hashtag shock and awe."
Yeah.
That is, you are leading a generation astray.
No, we don't stretch. We eat terribly, and you force your mind forces your body to do things that doctors say is dangerous to do. That's my advice. Just go out there and do it. No excuses.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll wrap things up. Make sure to tune in for next Tuesday's episode of the show, where we have an interview with Brandon Michael Hall, the star of the new CBS sitcom God Friended Me, just debuted. You don't want to miss that one. It's going to be a great episode on Tuesday. Okay. Well, on that note, we'll wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Chandler Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Tyler Huckabee.
And I'm the mother asparagus.
We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend.
Apparently.
Station wagon, tires flying, Katie's counting crows through the tears in her blue eyes. State lines and capitals go rushing by as I'm trying to find a station on the radio. Everything's gonna be better on the West Coast.
Thank you for listening to the Relevant Podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. Check out other shows from the Relevant Podcast Network in the podcast section at relevantmagazine.com. And while you're there, browse exclusive podcast merchandise at our online store. Make sure to subscribe to Relevant Magazine. Info is available at relevantmagazine.com/subscribe.
Can't look back. Some men you just can't save. We had our reasons for leaving. It's better this way. I'm gonna miss Ohio, but I'm not gonna miss the rain.
Carson Wentz one night was lying asleep in bed and just popped up and went, "Thy kingdom come!"
Relevant Podcast Network.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care. Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.